records videos like professionally. I don't know if we can claim that of you, but so if you're ever looking for recording, you should pick his brain. How's everyone else doing? Everyone
Awesome.
survived the long weekend.
Hi, Cameron.
Burned.
Some sunburns, that's how we want it. It's a good time. Okay, well we're back to it. Hopefully real estate didn't slow down too much for you guys this weekend. But what questions do you have? How can I help today?
Could I ask a quick one?
Yep.
Since Utah's a non-disclosure state, as I'm marketing post closing, what can I tell people about the sale price and the offers and stuff like that?
I would avoid marketing that says the price, but besides that, you can tell anyone anything. So it's like the one-on-one communication, you can do anything that you want. You just probably
So
shouldn't advertise
door to door
specific.
to tell people stuff.
Yep. Yep. You can knock
Oh,
on someone's door and say, hey, next door sold for X amount of dollars and it was over list price, and it's all because I'm awesome. So
sweet. That was going to be my exact script. So I love it.
it would work really well, I bet. You got to give one of these up. Like, I'm awesome. Like a little shrug
This is
when
a
you
good
do
tip. Thanks, Cameron.
it. That's what I'm here for.
All right, I got a long-winded question. You ready?
Just accept the offer. What's
It's
your real question?
hard.
What's your real question?
It's about the offer. So, and I haven't disclosed this to my client yet because so they did not send a credit application or a loan approval letter with the offer. And so I asked the agent about that. I just said, hey, I didn't see an approval letter with the offer. Do you have one? And she kind of stumbled a little bit and she was like, yeah, I'll get that from them. And then she called me back later and she was like, so originally she had said that they were approved for 165 and that's what their offer was going to be, and fine. And so then she calls me back and says, well, I have a little problem. My clients have a rental property that they're trying to justify the rental income because right now they're only approved for 120, but with the rental property they will be approved for 165. How big a red flag is that?
Speaking as someone that tried to do literally this exact same thing years ago, I wouldn't say that I'm not a red flag, and I had to do things like this. So it's not that bad. However, I would not be eager to accept an offer with them not having all their ducks in a row,
And
you
that's
know?
that's what I did to buy time, because now my deadline is tonight at 7 p.m.
Hmm.
because number one, they didn't send us the loan information so I can verify that they're actually going to be able to get a loan. And then two, they don't have approval from the park to live in the park. So they filled out the application like Friday afternoon, Friday evening to the park, which, Monday was a holiday. And so I basically said, look, I'm not going to just go ahead and accept this without, one, you have to be approved to live in the park. And two, I don't want to go down the road 2-3 weeks, take my property off the market, and then have the deal fall through because they can't get approved for the loan. And
Hmm.
so that's why I didn't tell my seller about their credit issues, because I wanted to see the actual letter before I panicked her, you know?
Yeah.
Is that the right thing to do in that situation?
Yeah, generally speaking, you don't want to withhold any information. You want to be forthright with everyone and almost everything, as long as it is the fiduciary to your client. Um, so with the seller, you could even, because it's ultimately up to them if they want to accept it or not. And then you're going to make recommendations. And so you can say, like, let's drag our feet longer. Let's make sure we get proof that everything's good. Because I think you're right. Like, generally speaking, going under contract and then falling out later is not the best move for most
Yeah.
people. We want an offer that's going to go all the way to the closing table. And so if that means not accepting it, that is okay. I never send a rejection letter over to people because if you don't accept an offer, technically it's still kind of out there and you can counter it at any point.
Yeah.
So if if you and your seller, like with all of the facts, are both thinking this is not gonna go through, there's no way. I mean, definitely your what was I saying? Oh yeah, talk to the lender and
Yeah.
before you make any of these decisions and things. But if the lender's like, this is not looking good, then I'd
Yeah.
say they're not confident you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so you can say, look, go get more of your ducks in the row, make the lender feel a little bit better, whatever that looks like before we accept your offer, and then keep marketing because we want to be on the market so you can receive offers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had a buyer walk through last night, and I thought they were with an agent when they called me, but they weren't. And I've been texting her this morning, and she's a cash buyer. And I was like, hey, if you, and she's not working with an agent. And so I just like put it out there that, hey, if there's, I didn't go into specifics with her, but I just said, if you're a cash buyer and you're interested in the property, that makes your offer a little bit better than this other one because they're getting a loan. And so I just threw that out there. And then I also did tell the seller that we didn't get the loan paper, the verification of a loan approval, but I just didn't go into detail about it because I didn't want to panic her before we see what the actual letter says.
Mhm.
Because I mean, as an agent, is that other agent in the wrong by telling me that they were approved for 165 when they're only approved for 120? I feel like they should be in the wrong because that's not being truthful.
I feel like it was a teenager talking to their parents kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they're approved for
exactly. It's like,
165 if all of these conditions are met. And she just
yeah,
doesn't mention these conditions. So it's like,
yeah. And that's what I think the conversation was, is that they have the approval for 120. And then they went back to the lender and said, well, what if we had this much rental income? The lender said, oh, well, if you have that much rental income, you'd be approved for 165. Get me the proof that you have that rental income, and then I can do an approval letter. And so they haven't done that yet. And so they don't have the approval letter.
yeah, which this is a lesson to everyone, right? As you're making these offers, uh, don't lie or withhold some of this information. Because now, Dave, you're like so weary of accepting this offer. Like potentially you could get this letter from the loan officer that says 165, and you're gonna be so worried about it that you're like gonna be like, I don't know, do we still just wait? Do we keep it on the market and not accept this yet? Because of how this agent was not forthright with information. And so it's like, how do you best sell your clients as buyers to these other agents? And she did not do that because she's saying 165 when that was not true. And an easy conversation of like, oh, hey, we're approved to 165. We just need to rent their house out for that. I think we'll be able to get all of the numbers and make it look good. And so I can get you a letter from the lender saying all of that if you would like. Like
Yeah.
that sounds way better than, yep, 165, good to go. Just kidding. I
Yeah.
lied.
Yeah. And they're actually offering 167.5, and they're saying we're just going to come up with the 2,500 extra as cash. And I'm like, are you? I mean, I'd love to believe that, but I don't know you. I don't know your financials. I don't. you know. So that's my issues this morning.
Yeah. Well, good. Go see if they can get all their ducks in a row. If not, it's not a bad thing to wait a little bit on the market. And remember, like when the offer says acceptance by 7, that doesn't mean that you have to accept it or counter it or reject it or anything by 7. It only
Yeah,
means if you want to accept it, you have to sign before 7.
yeah,
But if you are countering it, you can do that at any point. You could do that
yeah,
3 weeks from now and send a
yeah.
counter
And
in and be like, yep,
we need
we're
to
good.
do an addendum because she's not happy with the dates that they have because their dates are pretty far out. I mean, I want to say the close date was like July 12th, and she's wanting to be out of there by July 1st if we can make that happen. I don't.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like they're putting things out far just for rental purposes, make sure they can get someone in.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
they
So
need.
I'll text her this morning, the other agent, and just say, hey, just following up. I just, before we can accept this, we're going to need to see the loan approval letter and the park approval letter. Is that something you're going to be able to get today, or do you want to revise your offer to give you some more time?
Yeah, yeah, good plan. Okay, Priscilla, what's your question?
Hi, Cameron. I have a question. With the listing that I believe it goes live. Well, it does go live today. I text Janet this morning. If she needed anything else from me. I know we had like agreed on 475 as listing
Mhm.
price. I can also email you the photos as well, but the client feels like maybe we can go like up a little bit, 485. The reason being is like the only comps like in the area is 465, which are like townhouses that are
Mhm.
barely under construction. There's not really anything in the area right now in Springville. And
Okay.
they have a huge backyard, and that their backyard is divided with a soccer field, and there's no back neighbors. Basically, their whole backyard is like the soccer field, and it's open to them as well,
Awesome.
and so they feel like, oh, okay, well, could we at least go up a little bit, like 485? And I told them that I would review it over the weekend, and they were out for the holiday. They went ahead and painted, and it does look like a whole new place. And I felt like 475 was like like at the moment how I found the place was reasonable, but I do feel like maybe we can go up to 485 like they want, and it would be okay because it did do a complete 180, like the fresh paint, like the cleaning of it. The backyard looks amazing, it does look like a whole new place.
Yeah, as a general rule of thumb, I like to be under value
Under,
because
okay, okay.
I don't accept an offer right away. Like even Dave with his listing, like he got this
Mm-hmm.
off a few days ago. He went through this whole weekend and now we're here Tuesday and he has till tonight to accept it. And so if you're too low, we will give enough time that we let enough people sell it. And then like we have like Courtney did where she had 7 offers and then you get to pick the best and work with that kind of an idea. Um, if you're too high, we just need a plan to come down. It's really hard to put a exact value on what the market's doing
Yeah.
right now. I think it's very weird. Like there's some listings where I'm like, this is it. We're exactly right. Like all of the comps justify it. The active ones were way better. And then it goes on the market and it's crickets. And then the other thing happens where I'm like, oh, I feel like we're a little bit high. And then we're getting offers. And so it's a challenge, but as long as we have a game plan. If we're too low, just don't accept an offer quickly so we can bid people up. If we're too high, we just need a plan to move it down. So if you think that you can justify 485 to some buyers, then I think great, let's try it. The other thing is if they're getting a loan, you'll have to also justify it to the appraiser. So as long as your sellers know that even if we do get it sold, we're lacking comps to say why it should be worth more. But maybe it's we need to go out like further or something because it sounds like there's nothing like that in the comps. And so, but worst case scenario, even if you get a offer that is high and then the appraisal makes it come down, then you kind of hit the best case scenario because you know that you sold it for the most amount of money possible. Besides someone paying cash above appraisal price, kind of an idea, you're going to get the most possible for your sellers. So even if we get an offer and it has to come down, that's fine too.
Okay, I did let him know about adjusting the price in case in the future.
Yeah.
But I can also let him know, like, we can leave it at 475, and just because we don't want it too high, too low, but we want a medium offer, medium sale price. That way we can get in more offers type of thing.
Yeah, we want Goldilocks. We want it just
Okay.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So I'll let him know that. Do I send that to Janet, the listing price as well, for the
Yeah, yeah.
MLS and all that?
Yeah, shoot it.
Okay.
Yeah. Shoot it over to Jeanette and say, hey, this is what we're listing for. Also, if you log into your MLS and you click My Listings, you should have an unfinished listings section, and you can always update things there. But I would just make sure
Okay.
that it's the right price before you go live, because it's always weird to raise a price once you go live.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. I'll call him today, right now,
Sweet.
before we post anything.
Awesome. Okay, and then Becca's
Thank
got
you.
dibs on tomorrow's question.
Oh, do we have time?
No, I have to jump on
Okay.
my next thing. But oh,
Okay.
today
We'll do
is
it
gonna be
later.
awesome. We have the sales series. So we're doing the last one. I can't even remember what it is, but I remember being excited last week for it. So definitely come to that. And then at 11 o'clock, we are doing team meeting is turning into a barbecue. So there's like a few announcements right early on at 11 and then barbecue. So come hang out. Get ready to have a good time and eat some food. So I will see you all shortly. See ya.